What's going on, guys? Thanks for checking out another video from me here on YouTube. I'm yet again in my garage with the garage door closed. It's probably a little echoey. I'm wearing the flannel. You know what that means? It's cold. If you didn't know what that means, it means it's cold. I'm gonna actually show you guys the weather right now. So, showing 18 degrees outside. Authentic Weather says, you know the movie One Fine Day? Well, that ain't accurate for today. Yeah, it's cold outside. Luckily, my garage is a bit warmer, but I don't actually have a heater in here or anything, but it is warmer than outside. So what we're gonna be doing today is changing the oil on my 2012 KX450. You can see the front tire there. I'm gonna move it out here, and I know I've done these before, but you guys seem to like seeing the bike maintenance and stuff, so go ahead and I've been trying to listen to you guys more. What you wanna see is what I've been trying to do, and so hopefully you guys enjoy this, so let's get cracking. What we're going to do first here is actually fire up the bike and let it run just for a little bit, just to get the oil warmed up so it'll drain out of the bike easier, allowing all the oil to actually drain. If we don't start the bike, the oil is going to be a little more solid, not really solid, but it's going to be thicker and it won't drain as easily. So this will speed up the process and just help ensure that we get as much of the oil out of the bike as possible. I'm just going to be starting my bike in the garage with the door shut, so it's probably going to be pretty loud, so you might want to watch your ears. I'm still going to turn the volume down when I'm editing this, but it still might be kind of loud. Just be ready. So now that we got the bike warmed up a little bit with the oil, we're going to go ahead and put our drain pan underneath. Of course, take out the little thing here. And when you do this, you can take off, of course, the skid plate, but my skid plate's already pretty dirty, so I don't really care about more oil getting in it. I should, but I'm not going to. But I'm going to start with a 14 to take out the drain plug, and then there's a little 8mm up front that's, I don't even know the difference, but it has oil too, so we're going to take both of those out. In hopes of giving you guys a bit more light, I'm going to use my trusty light that I've been using in my videos pretty often. Don't really know how much you can see, but get that up there. So we already broke this loose. Come out nice and easy now. Make sure we have this the optimal area to catch. Probably going to get a little oily. If I was better at this, I wouldn't, but I'm not. Here she comes, right there. Make sure we don't lose that down there. So that's our main drain plug. And then like I said, we have this little 8 up front that we can get on to get that off of there. Almost lost it down the drain pan, but luckily I did not, thank goodness. Now while this is draining here, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of wipe down my drain plug bolt, as well as the little 8mm one. Just don't want those too awfully dirty, so just kind of wipe them down, put them back on my fender cover. And the oil has stopped coming out now, but we're going to tilt the bike both ways to make sure we get the rest of the oil that's kind of sitting inside the case out of it. You can see quite a bit more coming out when we lean it back to the right here. Try not to slip on this, just fall over with my bike, like that. Alright, that's probably just draining out of the skid plate now. Get this back up. Oops. Knew that was going to happen, but I had to reposition myself, that's alright. Now with that all drained from the bottom, the next thing I'm going to do, you guys are shaking, sorry. I'm going to take off the fill plug. Just do that real quick. And obviously we haven't put the new ones on the bolts back in the bottom, not new ones, but we haven't put them back. So if we put oil in right now, it would just drain straight through. But we're also going to get to the oil filter under here, so we have our 8mm again. You have to be very careful with this. I guess it's a common Cali problem of this year and stuff, but you can actually break these covers when you go to put them in. So we gotta make sure we're very, very careful with it. Mostly going in, coming out isn't as bad, but something to keep in mind. So just take these out. These are pretty easy to tell apart. This one's really long, goes all the way in there. Really short one, so those are easy enough to tell apart. Now we'll wiggle and work this on out, hopefully. Move this light for you guys. Hopefully that helps a little bit. Need to give my poor bike a wash. Look at all this. Whew. I didn't wash it after the last time I rode. Come on. Just kind of tight right now. Just kind of gotta wiggle it and work it back and forth. Pop those O-rings out. There we go. Got 2 O-rings, so we got to get past both of those. I already got the first one, and there's the second one. So obviously quite a bit of dirty oil coming out of there. Let that drain a little bit. Like that before it gets in my garage floor. And then here we have the actual oil filter, which I do run a metal reusable one. So I'm going to clean this out with brake spray cleaner and then put it back in rather than a paper one. Now, of course, you should be able to see up in here we have quite a bit of oil, so we're going to have to move our drain pan over to the right and tilt the bike and try to get that out of there. Grab the spring so it doesn't fall out with everything. So we'll go ahead and move this. Tilt the bike to the right and get the rest of that out of there. Just going to take our rag here, kind of clean out the heavier stuff. Then we'll also go in and spray that with brake spray cleaner, carb cleaner, whatever you want to call it, up in there as well. Get that nice and clean. So while we're at this, we're going to just check out the O-rings. Make sure there's no nicks or cuts or anything on them. And it looks to be nice and good, so we can leave that. So we'll grab our brake spray cleaner right here. This stuff is going to be super cold here in the garage. We're going to actually just spray out this, clean it off. Make sure we get into here. Spray actually into the inside of it. Spray out all the metal, whatever. I don't know the proper term, excuse me. But get this bad boy nice and clean. I'll wipe that off. Set that down. We're going to spray out actually up here. Get as much old oil out of there as we possibly can. All right, there we go. So like I was saying before, you gotta be really careful putting this in. If you just put it in, I need to spray this off, but if you just put it in and tighten these bolts down, these will actually, the edges of these will crack as they go in there because they'll go in uneven. Even if you just do like quarter turn, it'll still put pressure one way and it'll actually break it. So you gotta put it all the way in and hold it all the way in as you put in the screws, or the bolts, excuse me. All right. But obviously we gotta put the filter back in there. So grab that little spring that we had. I'm going to set it on in there. Oops, except I drop it, it was flying. Just like so. I'm gonna put this on here, just like so. And we're gonna work this on there nice and easy. We'll put the big one in here, like I said. And this is where we really gotta make sure the O-rings are all the way seated before we start tightening it down. So actually just like that. Get this little one started, get the big one started. Make sure we're pushed on tight all the way around. Just finger tighten it for now so we don't have to use the socket and ratchet and go too far. Just putting a lot of pressure on my left thumb here to push the oil filter cap, or whatever it's considered, cover all the way on before we start actually tightening these down. So again, just gonna be real careful. It's on there now, but just be careful. Just a little bit back and forth. You can probably do this a little harder, but I'm very nervous about it since I broke 2 of these already, and I really don't want to break a third. So there we go. Here we are. All right. There we go. And usually if you do break those, you hear it crack and it's not a good noise. you definitely know when you mess that up. So there we go, we got that back on. Let's go ahead and put the bolts on the bottom back in so we can fill this back up with oil. So just gonna wipe down what we can. Like I said, I really should have taken the skid plate off, but it's already dirty. I didn't really want to mess with it. That'll be totally all right. Half the time I do it without taking it off, half the time I do take it off. So we got our 14 here. Got some oil dripping from the skid plate still, so you can see it on my finger there, but obviously not an issue. All slippery from all the oil on everything, which we will be cleaning up, of course. Obviously, this is a bolt you want to make sure is on relatively tight. You don't want to over tighten it, but you want to make sure it's nice and tight, because if this bad boy backs out in the middle of your moto, then you're going to lose all your oil and you're going to seize up your engine, which is going to cost you a really pretty penny. Then we got the little 8, so go ahead and start that up there. Exactly where I'm at. There we are, I think. Make it up. there we go. We got those bolts back on. Let's just go ahead and double check. Make sure they're nice and snug. Oh yeah. Alright. There we go. So now that oil's all filled up, we can go ahead and just kind of wipe off our drain pan, make sure it's all nice. Of course, put that cover back on it. Come on. Perfect. Now we can go ahead and get this out of the way. Now this next step is a very important one. We're gonna actually put oil in the bike. Obviously, when you change the oil, you need to put new oil in it. So this is just the oil I use. Golden Spectro or Spectro Golden 4, semi-synthetic, 10W40. When I went to Apex that's the local bike shop, after I first got the KX, the 450, never having a 4-stroke in my life, I said, what do you guys recommend? This is what they said. It's what I run. I'm sure other people run full synthetic or not synthetic at all or whatever, millions of different choices. It's just what I use, it works for me. So no need to debate about that, but let's go ahead. So I always use this handy dandy funnel here. Doesn't exactly fill that hole completely, but it is better than just trying to pour the oil in from afar. So we'll go ahead and use that. Make sure these holes are lined up. We got some hair on there. Make sure these holes are lined up, and here we go. Now I know my bike, I know how much oil it takes, and I put in just 1 full quart. You can get real specific and do 1.02 or 1.04 or something like that, but I always just do 1 quart, and it works perfect. That's just the way I do it. You may do it differently. Nothing wrong with that. I really would like to clean up this Kawasaki cover here, whatever that is, the clutch cover, I think. But I don't want to pay for a new one. Someone was saying I could just sand all of it down and then clear coat it. I might end up doing that just so it's all silver or gray or whatever. I think that could be pretty cool. So that might be an upcoming project we'll do together. But here we go, just finish off this oil. Since it is kind of cold out in my garage, this stuff is pretty thick right now. We want to make sure we get it all, obviously. Going, we're getting pretty close to the end here. Obviously you want to watch the funnel, make sure that it's not backing up and coming out and over the funnel. Sometimes you got to kind of wiggle the funnel, make sure the fluid's running in all right. But looks like we got this just fine. So, go ahead and pull this back out. Put our fill plug back on, which we can of course wipe down, clean up, make sure it's all good and not full of dirt. Finger tighten that, and boom. There you go, guys. We just changed the oil. We cleaned the oil filter. Cleaned out or drained the old oil. Took the old oil out of the oil filter, put in new oil, cleaned out the filter, put it back in, and now we'll just, you want to check, make sure nothing's leaking, which it's not, and then we'll just give it another quick start here. So let's go ahead and do that. My neighbors have to hate me. All right, guys, last final important thing we're gonna do, we got our hour meter here, we got our owner's manual, and I always write down the time and date that I do my services. So it is 12, if this pen will work with me. 12/6. Okay, the pen's not working, but we're gonna do oil and oil filter change, and put 47.2. That is not the actual hours of my bike. This is the second hour meter I've had on it, and it didn't come with an hour meter. So I've had 60 hours on the old hour meter, so I have 107 hours on the bike myself, and I don't know what it had before it, but just so you guys know. Alright guys, it is snowing out here, but it's Tuesday night as I'm recording this. This is the least I can do for you. Wheelie Wednesday. Now my neighbors really hate me. Go ahead and hit like on this video if you enjoyed it, guys. Till next time, as always, take it easy, and if it's easy, take it twice. We'll talk to you later.